and welcome to the program from the Capitol, a 45-minute program that paints a clear picture of the national legislature in which individual lawmakers expresses their views and opinions on issues of national concern. The role of individual lawmaker is visibly highlighted in this program. This program is brought to you by the television department of the Liberia Broadcasting System. I am your presenter, Joseph Sion, asking you to keep watching.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Honorable ladies and gentlemen of the Honorable House of Representatives. I am honored at this time to announce to you the third day sitting of the Honorable House of Representatives and that of the 6th session of the 53rd Legislature of the Republic of Liberia. And now, therefore, this session is hereby called to order. It is hereby so ordered.
Representative District Number 1, River G County, and Chairman, Committee on Health. January 11, 2017. Honorable J. Manuel Nugwe, Speaker of 53rd Legislature, House of Representatives in Section, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Honorable Speaker and distinguished colleagues, I extend my sincere compliments and wish to draw plenary's attention on the issue of deplorable roads condition in the country, most especially the roads in the Southeastern Liberia. For a good number of years now, this plague has engulfed counties in the Southeast, thereby making it habitual, either because those responsible for the maintenance of these roads do not plow them frequently during the rainy season. Honorable Speaker and fellow colleagues, as you may be aware, there are a lot of causes that accompany deplorable roads which the great people of Southeast are from time to time experiencing. For example, the arbitrary hike in the prices of commodities, transportation fares, and the impossibility of committing sick patients to health facilities in the region. These situations are detrimental to the survival of our people. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, with the current road condition I saw during my legislative annual break, if nothing is done before the next rainy season, the southeastern counties will completely be out of touch. In view of the aforementioned, I crave the indulgence of the Honorable House of Representatives to invite the Minister of Public Works and his Deputy Minister for Technical Services to appear before full plenary and explain the Ministry's plan for roads in the Southeast before the next rainy season, especially the Ganto-Harper Highway and the road leading from Buchanan City through Riverside County to Sano, Grand Crew, River G, and Maryland counties. With settlements of my highest anticipation, I remain Honorable Johnson Tochie, Representative, District Number 1, River G County, and Chairman, Health Committee. Thank you.
Minister of Public Works.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that the testimony I'm about to give as it relates to this hearing will be the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Listen to the reading of the communication. You were requested to appear before this honorable body.
Yes, sir.
And now you will have the opportunity to analyze the communication. Address the issues.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and the honorable members of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come here today to brief you. I figured since I'm going to be here, instead of simply talking about the roads in the Southeast, I will talk about the roads in the entire country. That way everybody will be able to have an opportunity in terms of where we are. Fair enough.
Make a presentation that covers the entire country. That is fair. Those from, excuse me, those from the Southeast can pinpoint the specific issues related to the Southeast, and you will have the opportunity to question the minister. Thank you. It doesn't mean that the matter related to the Southeast will not be addressed or will not be carried out. Please, we beg the indulgence. Yeah, please.
Minister, go ahead.
I also wanted to apologize for the Sergeant at Arms made it clear that jeans are not allowed here. It's just we also came from viewing a project and would like to dress appropriately. So in the future we address ourselves to that. So I want to begin with the projects that are being financed by our donor partners, and the first project will be the Somalia Drive, the 2 new lanes. Our target for this year is the entire, from Freeport to Red Light is 13 kilometers, and our target for this year is to lay the first course of the asphalt on at least 7 kilometers. So from Red Light, we'll pass the Balanceville Junction. We intend to finish the bridges too, because as you know, we're removing the old Stockton Creek Bridge and replacing it with 2 new bridges.
I don't want to call the witness tomorrow. You seem to have good knowledge when it's not presented.
Yeah.
And it's a letter
For the plenary.
Let the minister address himself to the letter, and if there are additional information he wants to give us, he can give us. If he wants to come here and lecture us on what public works have been doing over the time, he can write for that audience. But he will not use our time to tell us what he's doing in his office, Mr. Speaker. I think he should address himself to the letter. If he has not read the letter, let the chief clerk read it again for him.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I think you're right. We ruled on it already, but I think the minister is here to give us some lectures. So I don't know if he brought any notes. If anything he can share with us, or just want to remember what all you were saying.
No, I have. It will be a soft copy, so I don't have printed copies. I have it here. I have a presentation here, but it's a soft copy. So the second thing I can do is I can restructure the presentation so I begin with the Southeast and the rest of the country. So in terms of the roads in the Southeast, as you know, we've been focused on the primary roads. That's Monrovia, no, that's Ganta, Zwedru, Fishtown, Harper. That's Buchanan, Riverses, Buchanan, Cestas City, Cestas, Barclayville, Greenville, Barclayville. Beyond the social impact of this, as you know, this year, 2017, is an election year, and those parts of the country will have to remain accessible all throughout the year. So between Ganta, Tapeta, Zwedru, we already have a contractor on the road. The contractor started the work in the middle of the rainy season, and because of that, he couldn't do any significant work. The contractor we have on our road is MDMC. And MDMC, on Tuesday, the Assistant Minister for Operations, who is responsible for repair and maintenance, was there. MDMC has actually started doing the work. MDMC is supposed to do the rehabilitation and maintenance works between Ganta to Zwedru. So from Ganta to Tapeta to Zwedru. Now, the piece that we still didn't have a contractor on, but we're addressing, is the piece between Zwedru and Fishtown. Because the contractor who is doing, as you know, recently we awarded a contract for Fishtown to Harper. So the contractor who is supposed to be Fishtown to Caloca, the contractor who is supposed to be paving that is responsible to do maintenance on that. So now the piece we're looking, we have to assign a contractor to is the one between Zwedru and Fishtown. We recently spoke with USAID, and USAID has made some resources available because we asked them to support us in keeping the roads open so that we can be able to conduct the elections. So USAID, we sent our own engineers out in the field. What we did, we do not have money to be able to do full rehabilitation of the road. So we send our engineers in to be able to find what are the critical areas. There are certain places on the road that fail every year. Now, it's not the entire road that will fail. Once these places fail, the cars get stuck in these places and then the road gets shut down. Between Fishtown and Zwedru, there are about 21 critical spots. Between Zwedru and Tapita, there are about 26 critical spots. The intent then is we're going to do the regular grading and clearing of the road, but in those places we'll do more work. The suggestion that the engineers have made is that we'll remove the unsuitable material, replace it with boulders, then over the boulders we'll put crushed rock, and then in those places, some of them are like 50 meters, some of them are like 100 meters, we'll actually try to put concrete over them. What this does is that in the future, because we're going to build the rest of the road, and those places that periodically, every rainy season where we have the road breaking, that those places, we won't be able to have it. The second thing we're going to do on the highway is that beginning July 20th, only vehicles of a certain size will be allowed to ply the roads that are not paved. So at the entrance of the highway and over all of the bridges, we're going to put the same barriers that we currently have over the Cestus River Bridge. So only vehicles of 20 tons or less will be allowed to plow on the roads, because what we notice is that if you have the big 18-wheel trailers carrying 40-foot containers on the road in the middle of the rainy season, they get stuck and then people have to dig. And once they start to dig, they ruin it. So that covers between Ganta and Fishtown. USAID is going to provide us money to be able to do the critical repairs on those roads, and we're going to put rain barriers beginning in the rainy season, and for at least 2 months in the rainy season, vehicles of a certain size will not be allowed to plow that road. The second one would be from Buchanan to Cestus City, from Cestus City to Greenville, from Greenville to Barclayville. From Buchanan to Yakpatam, the EU has provided us money for maintenance. So Westwood Construction is the company that we have between Buchanan City and Yakpatam. And from Yakpatam, the contractor will go towards Cestus. But beginning from Yakpatam to Nimba Junction, so Nimba Junction is in Riverses, we have an agreement with Mandra Logging Company. Mandra owed the government in back taxes, so we have this agreement that was approved last year. But by the time we got all of the signatures from the government partners, it was so from Justice, from LRA, from Finance, it was already in the middle of the rainy season. So I insisted that Mandra would not start doing the work until the dry season. So that piece from Yakpatam all the way to Nimba Junction will be done by Mandra Logging Company. And what we did, we structured the contract so that it will be a 3-year contract. They will not only do the rehabilitation now, they will be responsible for maintenance over the next 3 years. Now, there's the contract from Buchanan to Yakpatam to Cestus City, that is also a 3-year contract. The contractor who's there will be responsible for maintaining our road over the next 3 years. It leaves us now from Yakpatam to Greenville, from Greenville to Barclayville. We presented 3 corridors to USAID to be able to support us so that we'll be able to successfully host our elections this year. One is from Ganta to Fishtown. The second one is from Buchanan to Barclayville. The third one is from Banga to Mendocoma. USAID, we sent our engineers out and they did the assessment, they established a bit of quantities. But USAID, because they're using their own procurement methods, we have to verify the quantities that we've given to them. So we've given those quantities to them and they're currently verifying those. So those 2 corridors will be taken care of. The corridor that we still do not have any money for right now to be able to do is the one between Barclayville and Plebo. But our view is that if we already have the road between Barclayville and Kanwegen, and we have the road, if we do the road from Zwedru all the way to Fishtown, there will still be connection for the southeast for us to be able to do that. So in terms of the southeast and the primary roads leading to the southeast, that is how we intend to be able to address the problem. The second thing is, about 3 months ago, the president established an internal working group to see how we could revive the logging industry. And one of the problems with the logging industry was the infrastructure. Currently, no logs coming from beyond the ITI bridge is able to access the port of Buchanan. because we still maintain the barrier over the Cestus River Bridge. The reason is that if you put any logging truck, even an empty logging truck on that bridge, the bridge will collapse. And so to keep small vehicles, small trucks, light trucks, pickup trucks and sedans and SUVs passing, we decided we're going to keep that place open, but we're not allowed the logging trucks to go through. So the loggers came back to us, and we've been able to establish, to get from Acro, it's an American company that builds Bailey bridges. They have been able to design a Bailey bridge that can take up to 80 tons, 3, so that we can replace the bridge at Timbo. The Timbo River Bridge really should no longer be there. That bridge is a temporary bridge. It has been there since 1978. So the bridge over Timbo to replace it, the bridge over the Cestus River at ITI to replace it, and Sanquin 2. There's a second bridge over the Sanquin River to be able to replace it. So those 3 bridges, if we replace those 3 bridges, it means that even in the middle of the rainy season, any vehicle will be able to access the Southeast, especially accessing the port of either Greenville or Buchanan, and leaving from Greenville going to Barclayville. So in terms of the Southeast and the main infrastructure for the Southeast, that is our plan for this dry season in addressing those. If there are specific questions for the Southeast, I would like to answer this before I move on to the next part of the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Minister.
I hear the minister say that these projects will begin in the dry season. To the best of my knowledge, of course, I stand to be corrected. Dry season begins from October, it ends June. April. Thank you. Okay, thereabout. Here, we are in January. January almost ended. We begin February, March, April. Specifically, when will the project begin? Which part of the dry season do they begin? I'd like to know that. Then the second is a comment. The route from Buchanan to River says, as far back as 2010, I recall USAID sponsored a project along that corridor, 2010-2011, thereabout, with the same traditional red color road. It did not take 3 months. That road broke down again when the rain set in, which I consider to a large extent a complete waste of resources. Would it not be expedient where we thought instead of going with the same lateral road, grade up that road to an extent where we use cross rock, at least if we are not putting asphalt as yet, grade it to the level where you put in cross rock to cover the surface of the road, which can go at least 2 to 3 years before depletion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Months back, hereby, it was revealed that the road leading from Joenru to Greenville will be paved by Putu. But in your presentation, Putu, I understand Putu is not functioning now. In your presentation, you said the only road you didn't have any money for, or that you didn't make provision for, were NIM, but this particular road was left out. Mr. Minister, since last year, no cars now pass from Joenru to Greenville. This is a major highway. I want you to address that. My next question is, the last time you appeared here, you talked about the various regional hubs to be built. What is the status of those hubs? Thank you very much.
Mr. Minister, it is from your point. You stated that the MDMC has been contracted to take care of the Ganta-Joenru corridor.
That's correct.
And I've been hearing of this for the past 2 years. I don't know whether there is a second phase of the MDMC contract. And the first year I heard of it, I didn't see anything at all on that road. And then you are telling us that it has commenced. So you signed a contract for it to whip the mud, cut the road, then go later on to straighten the debris. Is that what I'm hearing? So this is the inquiry I have. Thank you.
I'm Representative Ellis Grant from Grand Judah County.
You just indicated that MDMC have started work
on the road between Ganta and Zwedru. Could you be specific to tell us when did they start work? And where? Which part of the road they started working on? Because I'm just from Granger, and in reality, there's nothing going on absolutely on the road, and you are indicating that they've started. Could you tell us specifically which part of the road they've started? Thank you.
I want to thank the minister for the presentation. I have a few questions.
Yes, few.
Well, Mr. Minister, I want to ask, I'm from District number 3, Mille County. Your plans as outlined for the rehabilitation of the road or the... I want to ask, what is the difference between your previous plan as compared to what you have in place now? Will there be any better as compared to what you had in place? Because my reason is, from time immemorial, the issue of the road has been a major problem for the people of the Southeastern region. And then I hear you saying you have, as per the contractual work, I hear you saying some of the contractors, you have 3 years period for the work to continue and for the maintenance.
That's correct.
Right. So when are they going to commence operation in order to improve the roads for our people to start living commercial life?
I drove from the border between Grand Judah County for the Central River Bridge through Monrovia, and I arrived there yesterday evening. And you are just informed this August body that the road has started, and this company or contractor, MDMC has started the road between those areas. As my colleagues have just asked that question, that the area that they are working, but what we have seen there is just about a half a mile that they are digging instead of refilling and doing other people a very good job. They are just digging the road. Are you telling us that is this the same company that you are referring us to, or you have another company that will do the road better than that? And it is the same company that will be paid by EU. Is that what you're telling us? So you can get better road?
I would like to know what has now been the new alternative in helping us reduce the problems affecting the road conditions in the southeast and all of Liberia. I say this owing to the fact that Public Works at some point had some decentralized concept, and it was practicing it. To date, we see it almost like a like a shopping place, where when there is a problem, then contracts will be awarded. What can we do to reduce the inaccessibility problem affecting our people in the leeward areas, even in Monrovia, some part of Monrovia, as to Public Works trying to be more assertive in its approach to upgrading the roads, be more assertive in making it a kind of all year passage of our people, because Public Works used to be around all of the time since our little boy, and it worked at the time. Today, as we have improved, it was my own thought that even those substations throughout the Republic would have been upgraded. Today, none is existing. What can we do to prevent this situation that year in, year out, our people cannot reach their various destinations. And you know, Southeast is the worst affected area. So what are the plans for us to evolve, you know, the process of public works so that the rest of the counties, you know, can have that, you know, maybe old improved way of moving around. For public works to be stationed, instead of giving contracts to people that will come and do the same work that your trained workers could do maybe better.
Honorable Chambers, again, I want to thank this body, because ever since I became Minister of Public Works, I've gotten nothing but support from this body. And last year, in the last sitting of this legislature, we passed a law establishing a road maintenance fund. The intent of the road maintenance fund was to make maintenance regular and predictable. And that is what will address some of the problems that we're talking about today. What happened though was that the national budget had passed before the Road Fund Act passed. And so in terms of activation of the Road Fund Act, for us to actually start using it, it won't be until July 1, 2017, the beginning of the next fiscal period, that we'll actually start to be able to use it. Honorable Chambers, when this administration took over, these decisions were made, and we inherited these decisions. The government of Liberia decided that there will be no longer projects done by force account, that the Ministry of Public Works will not be doing works itself. The government, the whole of government, including the legislature, decided that going forward, we'll give contracts to the private sector, and the private sector will be able to do it. In doing that, all of the public works yard that existed before the war, the government decided to stop, to no longer go in that direction. So consequently, at the Ministry of Public Works, we have very little equipment to be able to do any of these works ourselves. We give it to the contractors, then we supervise the work that the contractors do. That's how it's been structured. However, last year, in this year's budget, this honorable body again approved, I think, $2 million to allow the Ministry of Public Works to purchase some equipment so that Public Works can itself, in some places where it doesn't require pavement, Public Works might be able to go and be able to do these works ourselves. So we are in the process of acquiring the equipment that is being authorized by this august body. Honorable Stuart, you asked if it is I will just answer the questions at the same time. When the contractor starts to do the work, so first of all, one of the reasons why the road fails is because the material on the road is no longer suitable to be able to bear load. So sometimes it's because the material is too clay, there's just too much clay. So when the clay absorbs water, and when clay absorbs water, it becomes fat, for lack of a better word. And when it absorbs the water, it's no longer able to uphold the load that is put on it. So normally what happens is when the Ministry of Public Works comes in to be able to correct a situation like that, we would take out the unsuitable material and truck in new selected laterite that has been tested in our lab and is able to carry the load. So if you see them digging, it's most likely because the material that's there is no longer suitable. So in the dry season, you can put that same material back and people drive on it and it looks like it's working, but as soon as it starts to rain, the material will fail because the material is no longer able to do it. So that's what it will be doing. The second thing is, if you're going to be removing the unsuitable material, you must locate the suitable selected laterite that you're going to use to put back. So some of what he's doing right now when he's starting the project is, first, he has to be able to build a camp. They can't be coming, so when the people are out in the field, they will not go back to the city, they will not go back, they have to build a camp. They have to select all of the borrow pits where they will be taking the material from that will be doing. So when the contractor starts to do physical civil works, yes, it requires you to be able to see the yellow machine actually doing the work, but sometimes it's in the project preparation. That is the beginning of the work that he's doing. So currently they're removing unsuitable material. They're also identifying the borrow pits that they're going to be using. They're building the contractor's camp. Without these preliminary things happening, it will be almost impossible for them to be able to do the work. So the works are underway. I would say in the next week and a half, the part that the ordinary person considers, oh, the work is actually happening, that is seeing the yellow machine on the road, you'll be able to see that. But I gave you my word that the work is underway. Then on the Honorable Chair asked what is different about our plans this time. I told you that because we do not have the money that is required. So first, let me step back. The permanent solution to our road problems in this country is to pave the roads, period. Since between 2009 and 2000, I came here again in 2014. Fiscal year 2008, 2009, 2014, 2015. This government and its partners have spent about $750 million on roads. Most of those roads, they are feeder roads, they are secondary roads. After 2-3 years, you go back, you can see where all the money went, simply because we did a study. If a territory receives more than 3,000 millimeters of rain a year, do not do gravel roads. In Liberia, we get over 5,000 millimeters of rain. It means that by the end of 2 dry seasons, you've lost most of the surface area that you've done. So without paving the road, we'll continue to do this over and over. However, what is different now? We decided in terms of the 26, 19, 18 critical spots, we're not just going to leave it like that. If you go to the Lofa, there's some place, there's a hill in Lofa where we did a similar thing with CDOT. For about 400 meters, we put concrete. It means that whether the rains come or not, that part of the road will continue to remain passable, and that's what we intend to do. So in those 19 places, we'll take out all of the unsuitable material, we'll put in the big rocks, cover the big rocks with smaller crushed rocks, then over that we'll try to put concrete. That means that when the rains come, they will not be able to destroy the road. The second thing is that for the last 8 years, after every rainy season, we put grader on the road, the grader goes and grade the road. But what happens is that as we continue to grade the road without bringing in new material, it reduces the size of the road until the road is at the ground level. As soon as it rains, all of the water comes on there. So the work that MDMC is supposed to be doing is to actually build the crown of the road so that water flows off, open the drainage so that water stays off the road. The regional hubs. Last year, in the argument we made when we came here to ask you to pass the Road Fund Act, we said that working with the MCC, there were going to be built 5 regional centers. One was going to be built in Topmanburg to be responsible for Cape Mount, Bapulu, and Bombing. And the second one will be built in River G to be responsible for Maryland, River G, and Grand Jither. The intent is that by putting it in Fishtown, you'll be able to have access to both Maryland and have access to Grand Jither. Currently, they are accessing the spots where the structures will be built. We've written the county superintendents to offer land because these are going to be government structures that are going to be built. The intent now is that beginning with last year and the set of equipment for the Ministry of Public Works, over the next 5 years, we'll buy different sets and put them at the regional centers. So that when something happens in Fishtown or something happens in Grand Jither, we wouldn't have to wait for someone to come from Monrovia to be able to do it. We can go to the regional center that is in Fishtown and we'll be able to address the issue in Grand Jither. So right now, like I said, the sites are being selected to be able to do that. Honorable Smith asked why not pave the road. From Buchanan all the way to Barclayville is around Barclayville to Plebo is around 445 kilometers. Currently, we're paying anywhere between $860,000 to $1 million per kilometer. Let's say $1 million. So from Buchanan to Plebo is $445 million just for the physical works. That doesn't include the cost of the consultant who will supervise the work. It doesn't include the cost of people whose homes and crops will be doing for the RAP. From Ganta to Tapeta is 100 kilometers. From Tapeta to Zwedru, 125. From Zwedru to Fishtown, another 125. This is close to $500 million. Currently, because our borrowing position, the government of Liberia is not able to borrow. I've had Chinese companies, big Chinese companies, come to us wanting to pre-finance. They will find the money, they will take the money from a Chinese bank and pave the road. I currently have proposals to do Roberts Field Highway to make it 4 lanes. I have proposals to pave from Brewerville to Bopolu. I have proposals to pave from Buchanan all the way to Barclayville, and a proposal to do from Tapeta all the way to Fishtown. But the fiscal position of the government of Liberia does not put us in a position to be able to accept this money. So until that changes, we'll have to do this little by little, bit by bit. So I agree with you, Honorable Smith, that the permanent solution to our road problem in Liberia is to be able to pave it. But because of our fiscal position, we do not have the money to be able to pave these roads. Thank you. The best thing we can propose right now, and I'll say this to the body, is we start with the regional and then slowly go to do it in the county. Because to be able to, all the equipment it would take to have every county have its own equipment, is going to take a lot of money. And currently we don't have that money. So by having 5 regional centers, with 3 counties under each regional center, like I explained. So Grand Cru, Riverset, and Sino will be under one. It will be located in Greenville, so that you can access both Riverset and Grand Cru from there. To have those 3 counties in each region, I think that's the first place for us to be able to start. And then over time we can go down where we can actually have, like it used to be when we were younger, like a public works yard in every county. But currently, we're going to the regional, and then we'll go be able to do on the county. So most of the questions that were asked, I've addressed myself to them, unless I missed. Yes, this is. So that road is around 183 miles, and it's 1.6 kilometers to a mile. It's a very, very long road, and the road is very, very deplorable. We are working with Euro logging. Apparently there's another road that goes through Combat Gate that allows you to be able to access Greenville from Zwedru. That is the road, but currently, to be very honest with you, Honorable, there is no money for us to be able to rehabilitate the 183 kilometers between Zwedru and Greenville using the road that Putu was supposed to do. We just don't have the resources to be able to do that. So we believe that if we keep the roads open between Ganta and Fishtown, we keep the road open between Buchanan and Barclayville, we'll still be able to keep access to Greenville open and keep access to Fishtown open. But in terms of the 183 kilometers, unless new money becomes available, Honorable, there's absolutely no resources for us to be able to address that. We proposed it to the logging company. The logging company came back when we did the BOQ. They looked at it, the kinds of quantities that are required. They told us they don't have the money to be able to do that, and that because of that, we can't address ourselves to that road.
Eastern Legislative Caucus invited you. You indicated to the caucus that it was unfortunate that the Road Funds Act came into being, was passed after the budget was formulated. However, there was about 3 million available for intervention, not really to pave, but for intervention. In all of your indications about sources for intervention, you were only dwelling on usage. And I did not hear you saying anything about the 3 million that you told us about. My second question is, you also indicated to the caucus that as an alternative solution, your ministry was recommending a new method that was to be used on the corridor between Buchanan and Barclayville. I did not also hear you say anything about that. Could you please clarify?
Let me say thank you thus far for the attempt that you've made to answer some of the questions and doubts raised by colleagues. I listened very carefully when you started to tell us the roads have been divided into segments and the various partners that will be funding some of the roads. The segment between Zwedru and Fishtown that you said is to be funding. January is approaching its day end. Where are we in terms of a contractor being contracted to do that piece of road? I did not hear anything of such in your deliberation. Would you care to? Who's the current contractor that has been hired to do the piece of road from Zwedru to Fishtown? The second concern has to do with what Honorable Batikwa just raised. The stretch from Kamyeken to Barclayville. There is a huge river called River Nong that is, which proximity is not too far from Grand Cru. I did not hear of all of the bridges mentioned about that River Nong bridge that was constructed a couple of years ago, and it is posing a traffic hazard right now as it is in its current status. Can you please comment on this couple of issues that I've just raised? Thank you.
I'm just going to address my colleague from District 1, River G County. We have just been to the southeast, not quite even 2 weeks. This whole paper report of we will do, which you have just narrated. We have a major bridge that is connecting Kamyeken and Fishtown. And that bridge has been broken by a truck that was taking over 600 tons of cement to Maryland County. Since over almost a year now, we have been informing you, in fact, we have just written you recently, and the bridge is just laying one side. It is now a debt trap. You are saying that you have people that will build the road from Zwedru to Fishtown, other people from Harper to Fishtown. Which group is responsible to repair this bridge that is now a debt trap, which will be disconnecting Fishtown and Kamyeken? And as well as the bridge that my colleague had just spoken about over River Nong, connecting Grand Cru and River G County, because itself is also a debt trap. I think that there's a magic that the drivers are playing even to cross over that bridge, because all of the bridge is dilapidated, all the planks, all the irons are all gone. So how long it will take people to build the two bridges for fear of being disconnected with Grand Cru and for fear of Kamyeken being disconnected with Fishtown?
Counties, and my inclination is that you want to ask specifically concerning your counties or districts. The minister has not given us the roadmap for the rest of the country. He said he gave the plan for only for the southeast. So can we hear from him on these southeastern remaining questions, and then we allow you to complete the presentation?
Now, all of the presentation will be turned into reality one day. You made mention on several occasions that the bridge on the Timbo River has lost its usefulness, and you continue to play this cassette over and again. The Timbo Bridge serves as the gateway to the South, and that you know of. What is said that for almost the past 2 years, you've been saying that the bridge has lost its usefulness. And we are now again talking about the same usefulness issue. What is the plan with all of those things that you talk about? Bridge will be constructed, Greenfield, road will be going to Greenfield. When the gateway, the bridge that is leading to the area up to now, it serves as a death trap for our people. What is the plan now that you have?
When I first became Minister of Public Works, I sent a letter to the President and copied the Speaker and the Senate Pro Tem. And in that letter, I highlighted a number of critical infrastructure, bridges that needed to be replaced or they would collapse. And one of the bridges we highlighted in that report, so yes, for the last 2 years, I've been talking about Timbo, that the Timbo River Bridge needs to be replaced. What we intend to do, now normally what will happen is you build a new bridge, build a new concrete bridge, like we did over the Caldwell River or the Zulu Doma Bridge, with 2 lanes. But we don't have the money to be able to do that. So what we're proposing right now with what I explained is we're going to bring in a similar bridge, except the bridge we're bringing in is bigger and stronger than Timbo was when it was new, because Timbo is built to carry up to 70 metric tons. The bridge we're bringing can carry up to 83 metric tons. Now we'll put it in the same place where the Timbo Bridge is, and that requires us not to build new pillars, not to do anything. It can be installed within 6 to 8 weeks. All of this. So this morning, yesterday, I met with the FDA Managing Director and the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance has agreed that the $750,000 required to get this project underway, the Ministry of Finance will provide it. So this morning, before I came here, I sent a letter to the PVCC asking them for no objection, for single source, so that we can be able to buy these bridges from a single company. The company comes and installs it. The total for the 3 bridges would be $2.8 million. One of the bridges, Timbo is around 360 feet. The ITI bridge is around 460 feet, and Sanquen 2 is around 283 feet. All these 3 bridges combined to buy them and install them will be around $2.8 million. But the thing about it is that the amount of money we need right now will be $2.8 million less $280,000, because after the installation we keep 10% of the contract until 1 year after, and then we pay that. The Minister of Finance has agreed that he's going to provide the money. He's doing the letter to the PPCC so that PPCC can give us no objection to be able to do this. We want to do this in this dry season because the FDA has said that if the logging companies are allowed to be able to do their work, we might be able to raise up to $10 million in terms of revenue. So it makes sense to spend this money so that we can be able to get this revenue from there. So we will wait for the PVCC to respond to our letter. If the PVCC does so, we'll give the instruction for it to come. I should say this, for a ship to leave the US and come here is going to take about 6 weeks. But once the bridges are on the ground, because we're not doing any concrete works, we're simply taking out the old ones and putting the new ones, within 6 to 8 weeks we can be able to install them. We can continue to provide periodic updates to the legislature if you want, in terms of where we are with the process. That's something that we can do. Okay, I should say this. When we first came to the Ministry of Public Works, we asked our people to do an assessment of what it would cost, and I've said this before, to connect all of the county capitals with 2-lane paved roads, the same way between Monrovia and Buchanan, between Monrovia, Kakata, and Ganta. We did that. It's going to cost us around $2.2 billion for us to be able to connect all our county capitals with paved roads. It means for us to do that, not including maintenance, the Ministry of Public Works for the next 20 years will have to spend at least $100 million a year. My budget this year is $80 million. So I was saying that to be able to explain the scope and the scale of what we have to do compared to the actual budget that we have to be able to do this. On the issue of the bridges connecting Fishtown to Grand Cru, connecting Fishtown to Barclayville, and from Fishtown to Canwickham, the responsibility of the contractor. We haven't acquired a contractor yet for the last piece. And the reason we haven't acquired a contractor yet for the last piece is that USAID has its own list of approved contractors, which will reduce the time required for us to be able to acquire the contractor. In terms of those 2 bridges, currently, we do not have money to be able to address them. So what we're doing is that we're talking to logging companies that do work in that area, for them to be able to, in exchange for monies they owe in terms of back taxes, for them to be able to do the maintenance on that. Up to this point, we still have not concluded the arrangements yet on that, but we are aware of the 2 bridges, and we understand that even with all the work that we're doing on the roads, if we do not address the issue of the bridges, it will be pointless. So those are issues that we're trying to do. But because, again, I should be very clear, the significant constraints in terms of how much is available for us to be able to do. After the budget passed, it took almost 2.5 months for Public Works to even be able to get an allotment. So this is the reality in which we have to work. We want to continue to work with you, work with the logging companies, but the resources we have to be able to do the work are very, very limited. And then Honorable Batekwa asked about $3 million that were available. So what happens is that the legislature, through the budget, makes some money available normally for repair and maintenance. That money is the money that we're using currently from Ganta all the way to Zwedru is around 225 kilometers. The total cost of that contract, even though we're not paying it in the same year, is around $3 million. So most of that money is going toward that. The second thing is that in and around Monrovia, close to 2 million of our country's population lives in and around this area. Up to 70, if not 80% of all vehicular traffic in the country, vehicles registered in the country are registered here in Monrovia County. So when you see the budget in terms of where we are spending money, Monrovia County always carries a disproportionate amount of the money. Not because we like Monrovia County, but just simply because of economic, social, and in terms of population. Where are you spending the money that's available? So the 3 million that's available is being spent on repair and maintenance, both on that road going up to from Ganta to Zwedru and in and around Monrovia County. It's unfortunate that we have to spend so much money in Monrovia County, but that's just the reality of the situation in Monrovia. I think those were all the questions that were asked to me on the southeast issue. The final one was Honorable Macaulay. He was complaining about the barrier that we put on the bridge. To be very honest, I don't know what to do with that. If we take the barriers out, the big trucks will use the bridge. If you put a single big truck on that bridge, the bridge will collapse. Then there will be no access to Sino. So, the replacement is one of these 3 bridges that I said we wrote the PPCC about. That's the longest bridge. There's the 460 feet in terms of the length of the bridge. So like I said, I wrote the PPCC this morning for no objection to be able to award it to this company to procure the bridge and bring it. Until that happens, we're going to have to keep that barrier there. I know it's like I said, right here in Monrovia County, beginning here in Monrovia County with the Somalia Drive, we're going to try to do, the entire road is 13 kilometers. We're going to try to do at least 7 kilometers in this dry season. And we'll try to finish the bridge. Quickly, in February, we'll send invitations out to the national legislature, and those who can make it, can make it. But in February, we're thinking around between the 17th to the 23rd, we'll kick off the Fishtown to Kaloka. It's 80 kilometers. We'll launch that project for us to be able to start. I just wrote my colleague in Cote d'Ivoire yesterday for the delay in launching of the bridge between Maryland and Ivory Coast over the Kavala River. Instead of giving it to either Ivory Coast or Liberia to be able to do it, it was given to ECOWAS, and ECOWAS is taking a very, very long time to be able to launch the tender for the bridge. Currently, we finished with the design. We're doing the bidding documents. So by July of this year, we'll have the contractor who will be doing the works between Banga and Salaïs. Our intent is to start doing physical civil works in the dry season, so that's around October, November of this year, between Banga and Salaïs. Currently, we're doing the design from SD Cooper Junction to Coca-Cola Factory, so that when you get to ERW Junction, it becomes a single lane. The intent is to make it 4 lanes, the same way Tottenham Boulevard, from there to go all the way up to Coca-Cola Factory. As you can see, for those of you who live on the Robertsfield Highway, the Community Infrastructure Development Project is happening. We're opening the alleys. So from from the main Robertsfield Highway all the way to the ocean on one side, and from the highway all the way to the swamp on the other side. In a few weeks, we'll start phase 1. Lot 1 is the one with the main problems. There's going to be a lot of demolition. A lot of people are going to come back to you. So from ERW Junction all the way to the police station, lots of structures were built in the right-of-way. We haven't started with the demolition of those structures. We have to demolish them if we're going to open the alleys. So we just awarded the contract to the contractor, and the demolition is going to start. The total number of alleys that we're opening between ERW Junction and Marshall, there are 78 alleys and a total of 63 kilometers of road that is being done. As you know, this is we intend to finish the road between Wiswa and Bama this year. The contractor just started on the road. We intend to send a letter to the Speaker and the leadership of the legislature to make a proposal. We've already expressed this to the African Development Bank, that for roads that are being done in Liberia, to consider using not just asphalt, but to also consider using concrete. For those of us who grew up in Capamas or in Greenville and parts of Buchanan, There are roads that were done in those places in the 1950s, and with no maintenance, those roads are still there. But there are roads that were done at the beginning of this administration with asphalt. If you go to see those places today, the roads are beginning to fail. The second thing is that currently we pay slightly less per kilometer of concrete than we pay for asphalt. So we did a pilot project. We did a pilot here in Monrovia that you can see. Currently, the Redemption Road, Smart Road, Thinkers Village, and Honorable Berrien and in Gaytown also did a piece there. We paid around $720,000 per kilometer of each of those roads. Now currently we're paying $860,000 per kilometer of asphalt. Asphalt requires significant maintenance. Concrete doesn't. The second thing is that if you're using concrete, it means that up to 25% of the raw material you're getting it from right here at Semenko, that money stays in the economy. So this is a proposal that we're making to the National Legislature, that we want to make this to our development partners, African Development Bank, World Bank, that we should simply not consider just asphalt, we should consider using concrete on our roads. The final reason is concrete behaves differently underwater than asphalt. The water destroys asphalt, the water strengthens concrete. And so for us at the Ministry of Public Works, we believe that it is in our best interest for us to do that. So you can see Redemption Road, yesterday they finished paving the entire thing. We're simply going to work on the shoulders and the drainage. Honorable Batakwa also asked me about the option I have proposed. We had people come here from Malaysia and they told us about something called ProBase. ProBase apparently has been used in Malaysia. We had confirmation from Uganda. We're going to test ProBase in Doe community, at least 1 kilometer of it in Doe community, and pave the road there and see how it works. And then leave it for whoever comes after us in the next administration to be able to propose that on longer stretches of roads for us to be able to do. Well, as you can see, we're finishing the project in Sincor. Most of the back avenues in Sincor, we started doing the works there. Monrovia and its environs. When we started, we did, of course, we don't have a lot of money to be able to do all of the patching that we intend to do in the city of Monrovia. So we decided, instead of using asphalt, since we didn't have the money, we'll use cement and patch the roads. So right now, at the intersection of Buchanan and Benson Streets, where the old defense ministry used to be there before, it was very, very bad. But you can drive there today because we did it. What we tend to do now is, from 20th Street, Fiamma, all the way up to the market, we're going to replace that piece of asphalt. We're going to use concrete around Pierre Rib House, around Mumbo Town near Beer Factory. We're going to be able to do that. And all of the places in Monrovia where we currently have potholes, we intend to replace it, to patch it using concrete. We're continuing with our monitoring of the work on the executive mansion. As you know, we are not the contractor. There's a contractor, there's a monitoring consultant, but the Ministry of Public Works simply supervises the works that's happening there. We'll continue to pay to do that. We have put out bids to be able to redeck the Lofa Bridge. As you know, the planks on the Lofa Bridge have all been broken up. I mean, every now and then people go and put some wood there. We're trying to replace all of that and use concrete because the superstructure of the Lofa Bridge is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The second one is the Jung River Bridge, the one we cross when we go into Roberts Field. We need to lift that bridge from one side and replace the bearing. So when we're doing that, we already have the contractor who will do that. The only access to Roberts Field will be through 15 gate. Maybe for about 6 weeks, we'll not be able to access Roberts Field there as we fix the bridge. And then we've called the contractor in because he should have started on Commander Bridge in Bombing County, but up to this time, he still hasn't started, so we've called him in, and he's going to start doing the work now, either this week or in the coming week. We still have outstanding maintenance that needs to happen, but there's no money to do it. There's the JJW Jones Bridge in Sino and the Port of Sino Bridge. Those two bridges were assessed in 2012. We're told to do a second assessment in 2014. We still have not been able to get the money to be able to do it. And those bridges are at the risk of collapsing. as I said, I thanked you when I came here. I want to thank you again for passing the Road Fund Act. We're confident that beginning July 1 of this year, we'll be able to raise every year at least $20 to $30 million only for road maintenance. However, when we came here, the legislature insisted that you can't raise all of that money for road maintenance only. Some of that money has to go toward paving roads or bringing roads into acceptable condition. So what was decided was that 60% of the money in the road fund will go toward maintenance, 40% of the money will go toward paving roads and bringing them into maintainable state. These are ongoing works. We're going to finish Pipeline Road in terms of it's a lateral road. This year we intend to finish the Dupo Road to reach the road to the river. We intend to finish Marshall. We already started putting asphalt on Police Academy Road. The Drivers Market to Johnsonville Road will start shortly. We intend to be able to do an alternate kind of seal on we call it the Chucky Taylor Road, as the road behind the health ministry, so that you'll be able to take the Congertown back road and come out at the stadium for us to be able to do that. So Clinic, we had to cancel the contract we had for the contractor to do a low volume seal. We'll re-tender the So Clinic road for them to be able to do it. And as I said, in Doe Community, we'll be trying pro-base on 1 kilometer of Doe Community to see how it works as pavement. That's where we are in terms of the infrastructure. If there are any direct questions, we will take them now.
In Bokomu District number 2, to do a groundbreaking connecting Bokomu with Gongwalala from Monakwale to Palakwale. And afterwards, a team from Public Works went in there to do assessment. But since then, up to now, we haven't heard anything and we are not seeing anything done. So can you tell us what's going on, please? Thank you.
Mr. Minister, listening to your expose with regard to the conditions of rural roads in Liberia. But I never heard you mention about the Broadville Road to Bele. And the last time you submitted a communication here, you said that the government has spent $80 million, US dollars. And now you are requesting for additional $7 million. My question here is, we have a contractor called a Pillar Construction Company. And if you visited that road from Broadway all the way to Bele, and we have one of the challenging hills called Poor Hill. And the last time, Monday shoes about that hill, and you told me that in January, before January end, that Poor Hill will be pliable. Can you give all the update about the road from Bele Yala all the way, no, from Broadway to Bele Yala? Thank you.
My concern has to do with the issue of informing the House of Representatives. I would like to know, since your inception, have you written or submitted any document in the form of a quarterly report to the House of Representatives? That's the first question. Second, there have been speculations that NGOs such as USAID, FAIR, CEDA, and etc., along with the World Bank and African Development Bank, were providing fundings for road construction in Liberia. We would like to know also that the government itself has been providing funding for road construction. Can you dichotomize the amount? Can you dichotomize the amount being provided by the non-governmental organizations and that of the government of the Republic of Liberia? We are very much concerned because there have been repetition on ground that every year people will provide fundings in the budget for certain road, for example, like the road leading from Samuel SKD Boulevard to 72nd. The first construction took place, they don't last for 3 months, and then government requested for another fundings to erect that road again. So we are very much concerned why it is true that there are other plans on the way to carry out infrastructure development such as roads in Liberia. We are very much concerned of accountability. Could you provide this House of Representatives a comprehensive report that will tell all the usage of the funding being provided to the Ministry of Public Works. Thank you.
Mine is commendation for the minister. We want to say thanks on behalf of the Bon County citizens for the Banga Street payment, and also to say thank you for recommending USAID to selecting 5 streets in Banga for the chip seal pavement also. So we want to say thank you, and we look forward to working with your ministry to ensuring that Banga is paved in totality. Thank you.
They work with us and work with the county in identifying the roads that will be done. They carry out their own procurement process. All that spending is done outside our budget processes. They don't give us the money. The money we are accountable for, the money we use is money that's appropriated by this legislature, passed in the national budget, and given to the Ministry of Public Works. Now, since I've been minister, besides sending the annual report, I haven't sent quarterly reports. If this house wishes to receive quarterly reports from us, obviously we can make those available.
Few roads, but you say a contract, the road from Wagatan to Santa in Grand Bassa County, and from Wagatan to Tukutan. I don't hear the time you're explaining. And also, I am doing a road from Grand Bassa to Bon County, the bridge that between Bon and Grand Bassa has collapsed. Ever since the past few years, since 2014, and the bridge is the death trap. I don't hear you say anything about this and the bridge. Each time I complain on this, it will be laying one side, so I want for you to come in about that. Because this year will be in a condition of that road.
And there from Buchanan to Sando is not the only highway we have in Grand Bassa County. We have 2 other highways from Buchanan to Bon through Cocoya, and then from Buchanan to through Riverside to Tapeta. All of your explanations since I've been here for 5, 6 years now, you have never talked on those 2 roads. So what I'm doing now is I'm inviting you to send your people to go I can go ahead. So we need your presence on the road to go and inspect the road. 2 roads I'm talking about. In the 70s, 80s, people used to travel from Tapeta through Riverside, Buchanan shorter than passing through Banga. And then from Buchanan, you pass through the other road and reach to Banga sooner than passing through Katata. So I don't know whether the record has been lost, but we want to invite you to go and make sure you check the road and put that on your calendar.
It's from there you turn to go to Watapeta, to go up into Nimba, so that we're aware of that. Unfortunately, like I said, because of the size of what needs to be done, we focus on certain corridors. These corridors, we believe that if we develop these corridors, they go through the major towns, they go through the major economic activity, and because we don't have our equipment, it's limited in terms of what we can actually do. Everything has to be given to a contractor, and that is based on how much money we get in our budget. If we have our own equipment, then it's just the DSA for the people, wear and tear on the equipment, and fuel. So yes, we are aware of those other. We're done with the primary roads, then we can do the secondary roads.
Yeah, but do you know the road? Excuse me, follow up. From Bijo Town, we're leaving from Buchanan, taking Sand Road, the road is on your left, going through land. That's where I'm directing you. You had
this house for all of the support we've gotten on the Road Fund Act. When we first submitted the act to the national legislature, one of the first hearings that was ever held on the act was held here in the House of Representatives. We have received a lot of support from our chairman, Chairman Fall, and other members of the House Committee on Public Works. So again, on behalf of me and my team, for all the support that we received from you, thank you very much. And everybody who helped me pass the Road Fund Act, I don't want to start naming names so I don't forget people and then people get offended. But thank you very much for all of the support. And We'll send you the quarterly reports in terms of what we're doing. And for specific projects in your counties, if you want updates, we'll instruct the resident engineers to give you those updates. Thank you very much.
With all that with all that you said, Mr. Minister, there are a lot of concerns that the presentations as made by you were good, but in terms of actual implementation, some of the good things you said, there were no timeline. We would like for you to work with the Public Works Committee first, then with the various caucuses in terms of the projects we are doing in the respective counties, so that regularly they are updated, and then by that they will be able to track what you are doing and they will be informed, and some of these issues will not have to come to the plenary. With that being said, we entertain a motion from Chairman Ford on the way forward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Works and the House of Representatives will thank the Minister of Public Works for the briefing he just gave us. And we want to underscore the word briefing, like a ranking member of the committee, Honorable Masekwe, said. If all of these information are not transmitted into tangible actions, then our staying here will be an effort in futility. And so we look forward to working with you. There are several issues, especially from the perspective of the southeastern region of this country. Also representing Monrovia County, but hailing from the southeast. And fortunately, you two from the southeast. We want to remind you that a lot of the decisions, especially, Mr. Speaker, especially at the highest level of government, that go into which corridor of the country should be prioritized and which corridor should come later on. And unfortunately, talking and visiting the Southeast as a son of the Southeast and a member, the chairman of the Public Works Committee, it is the perception of the Southeast that it has been neglected for a period of time. And so the hearing is not just about why roads are not paved and roads, but the hearing is what is the plan of this country called Liberia for an entire corridor of the country that seemed to lie in neglect for the past 20 or more years. But that being said, we want to commend you, Mr. Minister, for the able manner in which you handled this hearing. We are aware that most of the issues you've responded to, we have asked you to respond to, are issues that you inherited, and but government is continuity, so you will understand why we had to ask you these questions. And so, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I should not be the one making this motion, but since you gave me the opportunity and being the chairman, I will defer the motion, the way forward, to Honorable Bill Huawei.
And other issues related to public work in the Republic of Liberia. I move, if I can obtain a second, that the witness be discharged and that he work hand in hand with the Committee on Public Works, so as to not be coming here, so that any issue they can discuss it in-house before he come here. I so move.
Well, folks, this is how we end this edition of the program from the Capitol, a 45-minute program that highlights activity of the National Legislature. I have been your presenter, Joseph Sear.